What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Talkin Football podcast. Today we are recapping week 3. Today we are talking injury report, storylines, ballers and fallers, and you already know what we're ending with dogs of the week, which actually came down to a very, very, very close call. And I'll get into that in a little bit. You're not going to want to switch while you're here. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Also follow the Instagram at Talkin Football Pod, same handle as it is on YouTube as it is on Instagram. Let's do the intro and get right into recapping week 3. Week 3 was a very interesting week of football. A lot of blowouts. Like, a lot of blowouts. I mean, there are at least 3 or 4 in there that I'm like, holy cow, that's a lot of games that were not really close. It was fun. It was a fun week, though. We had a lot of not kick return touchdowns. We had a lot of blocked kick touchdowns. I think there were either 2 or 3, which like never happens. I mean, just in one week. That's usually how it is in like one season. Having it all in one week was crazy. A lot of defensive touchdowns, high scoring games, blowouts. Like I said, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. But before we get into that, let's talk about injuries, the stuff that we don't like. But let's talk about it. The big ticket one, Nick Bosa has torn his ACL. He is out for the year. This is the second time he's torn his ACL. He did it in 2020. Now he's doing it again in 2025. Good news for the Niner fans, though, is that this is not the same knee he tore his ACL on the first time. This is his right knee. Last time he tore his ACL, it was his left knee. So the only good thing about that is that it's his different knee. He's out for the year. CeeDee Lamb, high ankle sprain. He's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. Anybody who had him in fantasy knows they're not very happy about that. He had 0 points this past week. So CeeDee Lamb out for 4 to 6 weeks. Also in Dallas, Tyler Booker, offensive lineman, is out for 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain as well. So first-round rookie is out. That gives them very little talent on the interior outside of Tyler Smith. So they definitely got to figure out a solution there because I don't think Dallas is that bad. They're really not. I mean, I think they're not great, but compared to what everyone thought they would be, they're not bad. I think Schottenheimer's done a pretty good job. Dak is looking pretty good for the most part. I don't think that they're that bad of a team as people actually think or people thought they were. And that includes me. I didn't think they were going to be as good as they appeared to be. DeJuan Jones has suffered a knee injury. He's starting right tackle for the Cleveland Browns. He's out for the year. He's going to need surgery on that. I mean, they have a good offensive line, a pretty solid one. They've always had good offensive linemen there in Cleveland, but now they lose their starting right tackle. DeJuan Jones, former Ohio State Buckeye, as you can see by my hat. He's a big boy, a really big guy, not super mobile. So that knee injury might hurt him a little. It will obviously hurt him. He's going to need surgery on it. So let's see how he can bounce back from that, considering he's one of the heavier players in the league. Najee Harris tore his Achilles. He is out for the year. Omari and Hampton fantasy owners stock going through the roof. Looking here, Tyrone Tracy dislocated his shoulder. He's going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks. Potential IL stint, not totally sure, or not IL. Sorry, my mind is totally on baseball right now because the playoffs are very soon. Tyrone Tracy might need an IR stint, probably not. But again, looking at fantasy, that's Cam Scatterbo. Stock is through the roof for him. Mike Evans has injured his hamstring. He's out for 3 to 4 weeks, which means Igbuka, rookie wide receiver, is going to be coming in and being the wideout one there. So if you got Igbuka, stock is going through the roof there. That kind of puts Evans' 1,000-yard season streak in a little bit of jeopardy. I know we had a similar issue last year. He was out for a good chunk of the season, but he did come back on the last play of the year. He did get over that 1,000 yards. So let's see how he can come back from that. James Conner is out for the year as well with a leg injury. He had to be carted off the field in that game against the Niners. That will put DeMarcado, I think, as the main running back there in Arizona. Those are the injuries there, are the main ones. There's a couple of other ones like Graham Gano. He also is going to need an IR stint because the Giants don't know how to use kickers correctly. So sometimes it is what it is, and you just got to move on. And that's the way it is. Also, before I continue, I forgot to mention this. Yesterday, I did a surprise upload with Dan. You guys remember him from the NFC East predictions video and the Eagles live stream, not the Eagles live stream, the Super Bowl live stream, where he correctly predicted that Cooper DeJean was going to have an absolute masterclass of a game. Make sure you guys check that out after you're watching this video. If you're a Giants fan, we're basically just ranting about them. If you guys want to check that out, be sure to do that. That is right on my YouTube page. And I also posted a short that Danny edited for me, so I appreciate you, Danny, for getting me that. So definitely check both of those out. And yeah, I mean, we're basically talking about week 3, why the Giants stink, who's to blame for the issue, should Jaxson Dart start? And funny enough, I'm going to keep it kind of short here because I talked about this on yesterday's video. If you guys want to know my opinion on this or what it was before the news came out, I would watch that video. The Giants have benched Russell Wilson 3 weeks into their season. Jaxson Dart, first-round pick out of Ole Miss, is now the starting quarterback. Let's talk about it. So, Jaxson Dart looked amazing in the preseason. He did. He looked poised. He looked ready. He looked comfortable. All of those adjectives are very accurate to describe the way he was playing. Okay, and there's no other way to say it, right? He played very well in the preseason. So what does that mean for the Giants? It means that they knew that if Russ was struggling, they would put Dart in there. Russ is on a 1-year deal. Okay, there's nothing to lose here. Russ has been struggling. Other than the game against Dallas, which was against Matt Eberflus, he has struggled in against Washington and against Kansas City, 2 notable defenses. So what does that mean? It means one thing and one thing only. It's time to move on. It's time to have a Darty party, man. Russ has not looked good in those 2 games, Washington and Kansas City. Same issues, he's not pushing the ball down the field, he's not going over the middle, blah, 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 whatever. Is it play calling? Yeah. Is it him also? Yeah, sure. I felt that once Russ threw that pick to Wan'Dale Robinson in triple coverage, I was like, yeah. Like, that's probably it. Then he threw the moon ball that wasn't even close to Malik in the end zone. Or it was close, I guess. He just got underthrown. That was picked as well. It's like, yeah. And then you can also kind of feel when Dart came in, everyone is just going nuts. And then they take him out, and Russ comes back in, they're booing him. Look, Daboll's got to save his job. All right? You guys know this. Daboll needs to save his job. And Dart is the only thing that's holding him on. That's it. That's the only thing. If you look at his track record, they're not successful. They're not. Since the first year, they've won 9 games. Since the very first year that Daboll became head coach and Joe Schoen became GM, they've won 9 games. They went 9-7-1 in their first season. Since then, they're 9 and, you guys can do the math. That's 9 wins in what? 37 games? 9-28? That's accurate. They haven't even gotten double digits, and they haven't reached that yet. They will at some point this season, maybe, but I think Dart gives them I hate saying this because I think their season is over. But just in case it isn't, they have a tiny bit of hope saying, well, look, if they win, total hypothetical, they probably won't. 1-3, maybe you have momentum with this rookie quarterback. You're playing the Saints, then you're 2-3. Then you're back in it, kind of. I don't think the Giants are that bad of a team. Okay, and you guys can say whatever. And I think there's so many valid points on both sides of the argument. Here's the thing, though. If you look at the way this team has been built, you can see the offensive line isn't horrible. The interior stinks, but that outside isn't that bad. They got good pieces. Scatterbo, Neighbors, Wan'Dale, on offense. And defensively, you have that great defensive line. Thibodeau, Burns, Abdul. They've all been playing very well. Newbin is a good piece. Debo they signed in the offseason. Drew Phillips is good. He had a really bad game against the Chiefs. They got pieces there. So they're not super far out. They got the pieces to kind of go somewhere. But you got to kind of give a little bit more before you become true wild card contenders. So I think this is the right move. Your season's already over. You might as well see what you have with Dart. If he plays like Josh Rosen, then okay, well look, we're gonna have a top draft pick, maybe, and we already have decent enough weapons. Maybe we go after Newsmeyer. Maybe we go after Sellers. Maybe we go after one of those top QB prospects. Just an option. This is absolutely the right move, though, as a Giants fan. It's about time. Let's talk about the Colts. I think I talked about them a little bit last week when they're 2-0. Now they're 3-0. They beat the Titans 41-20 in a Jonathan Taylor legacy game. They're 3-0. The Indianapolis Colts with Indiana Jones are 3-0. They're 3-0. Here's the thing. I'm having a really hard time saying they're legit, but I don't know why. I think I said last week that they were a good team, because they are. If you say anything else, you're kidding yourself. They are a good team. I'm just struggling to say, oh yeah, this team is legit, a legitimate contender, because I don't think they're there yet. I think they have an amazing coaching system. I think Steichen is a great guy for Indy. They got really good pieces there. How they played this week against the Rams, that's going to determine, yeah, this team's a contender. Don't get me wrong. They beat the Broncos, and the Broncos are a really, really good team. That was not an easy win. Sure, was it because of like a personal foul or whatever? Yes. Still, that shows that you're more disciplined than the other team. So far, they beat the Dolphins, who are not good. The Broncos, who are 1-2 right now, for what it's worth. And they beat the Titans. The Rams are a good team, and they're healthy. Let's see what happens there. They can lose, and I'd be like, yeah, that's a legitimate team. If they lose like 27 to like 24, 27 to 23, 28, 24, whatever. Yeah, that's a legitimate team. They played a close game with a really, really, really good football team. If they maybe lose 34-17, I might say, I don't know. It's gonna be a fun one though. The Rams and the Colts, they mesh well together. I think their strengths are very similar. So I'm definitely curious to see where the Colts go from there. And I like the Colts. I think they're a solid team, but I need to see if they can just play a close game with the Rams. I think we'll be in good shape there, and I think they'll be in good shape there. I say we as if I'm a Colt. Broncos, Denver, they are 1-2. Okay, what does this mean? I had Denver winning the AFC West this year, and they easily could. Granted, they need to split with the Chargers, and the Chargers are 3-0. Next closest team is 1-2. They are 2 games ahead of the next closest team. And guess what? They already have a win against the Chiefs. They now have a win against the Broncos. They're 2-0. One more win in the division, you're already 500 in the division. That says a lot about where they are. And they're probably going to win this weekend against the Giants. Like 95% chance that they win. So I'm led to think, what's next for this team? For Denver, I'm talking about, not the Chargers. Because we know their defense is solid. Could they use more star power? 100%. I think that's where they lack, because they're a really good group with one star player. Like, Surtain is the best corner in the league by a lot. McDuffie's great, Gardner, Stingley, they're all really good. I think, but like Surtain is up here, Stingley, McDuffie, they're like here. That's a pretty noticeable gap. So I'm struggling to figure out where Denver needs to improve. And then I'm like, man, what do they need? What does this team need? And I'm like, they need better quarterback play out of Bo Nix. Bo has not looked great this year. Am I surprised? Not necessarily. but Bo needs to play way better. Like, he's barely crossing the 200 mark. He needs to exceed that by a significant margin. I know they don't blow me away with their weapons. Again, the Broncos are just a good group of guys. That's kind of how I feel about them. Sutton is just great. You guys know how Logan feels about them from the fantasy video. Sutton is really reliable. Okay. J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey, those guys have been playing really well too. Mims, I love me some Marvin Mims. I think Marvin Mims is a great receiver. He's super fast, but I need a little bit more from them. And I don't know what exactly I'm looking for. But if I had to pinpoint something, I would say it's Bo Nix. And he's not even playing that bad. Just something's not right. And I don't know what specifically it is. And I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong with Bo right now? Is it time in the pocket? Is it, what is it? Or do they need like a start, like a true wideout one? Not that Sutton isn't one, but do they need someone to complement Sutton? That's where my mind goes to. Because I think Nix is good. Excuse me. I think Nix is solid. But I need to see more. I need to see a little bit more. Am I hitting the panic button with this team? Absolutely not. If you are, you're just an unrealistic person. I can see where you're coming from, but you need to kind of think about it. They're 1-2. Losses to, the Chargers, lost to the Colts. Two teams that are 3-0. Two teams that are well coached. Two teams that are very disciplined. Think about it that way. So am I saying red alert, red alert, red alert? No. But keep an eye on the Broncos. If they lose this weekend and they're 1-3, then you got a real issue there. Let's talk about another struggling team. This is another team I put all my eggs into. Baltimore. They've had a chance to win every game they've played. They should have won week 1. They probably should have won on Sunday night as well. Sorry, on Monday night. They're 1-2 as well. They've lost to the Bills, and they've lost to the Lions with a win against the Browns. Where does that put Baltimore? Because when I was looking at this team, I'm like, this is the best team in the AFC. This team has an elite secondary. This team has got a great defense. I think I said at one point they have the best roster on paper, but they're 1-2. And you can't blame Lamar because, and the thing is, I was watching Lamar on Monday night. He can sling it, man. And I'm not even like, I knew he has been significantly better as a passer since his first MVP season in 21, or no? Yeah, right. Yeah, his first MVP season in 21, or around that time. But I didn't realize that. I'm like he can sling it, man. He can throw really, really well. So it's not on him. So who's to blame? It might be Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry has been struggling big time. He has not been able to hold onto the ball. His last 2 games, I mean, here, I'm just really struggling here because his last 2 games, he has had 23 carries for 77 yards. Sorry, 73 yards. First game, he had 18 carries for $169. Yes, he fumbled, sure, but still. So I'm not sure where it's going wrong because the Lions, their defensive line or their run defense doesn't blow me away. I love Jack Campbell, but other than that, they don't really blow me away. The Browns, they have a good front, but they don't really blow me away. So I'm trying to figure out where they're going wrong. I don't think it's coaching either. Is the defense? Ravens fans, let me know. Because this is a team that should be the best team in the league. And they've lost 2 primetime games that they probably should have won. Or at least had the chance to. I don't know. I'm really struggling to figure out what's going on with B More right now. And I still think they're a really good group of guys, but like, man, they got to figure it out. It's time to do a hot seat tracker. Let's talk about this. Who are the coaches that have their seats on fire? Leading the pack in Miami. It's hot down there, but his seat is also hot. Mike McDaniel. When is this dude going to get fired? It's going to be soon. Now, I heard that the owner of the Dolphins is having a very, very, very long leash with McDaniel and Chris Greer, I think is his name. Or is that I think. They're giving them a lot of leeway. Why? I want to know why. Why are you giving them leeway when they have only proven that they're not reliable? Mike McDaniel is a coordinator that I would love to have on my team. He's a coordinator, not a head coach. He's just not I don't think he has the leadership to be a true head coach. And we see it. I think he's more concerned about his swagger level and like being different than being a head coach. You want to know who does being different better? Dan Campbell. Because that's their identity. Their identity is that we have significantly more grit than you. We go for it on fourth down. We got big balls. That's what we do. That's what they do. Miami, they're like, oh yeah, we got swagger. Yeah, we're in Miami. Woo, yeah, look at us. Yeah, we're running onto the field. I'm a weirdo. Yeah, okay, great. But what does that bring? What does that bring? Fans, nothing. When you're watching the Lions and it's 4th and 2, it don't matter where they are. They can be on their own goal line. They're going for it. Miami, they come out into the field with this like awful arrogance, and I don't even. It just doesn't make sense when you're that arrogant about your team identity that you don't even have, and you're 0-3. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. I'm not gonna guarantee this, but at some point I want to make a video on the Dolphins, just on the Dolphins, and say they gotta clean house. This is a team that has no direction right now. None. Start from scratch. It will help this team. Tyreek Hill, trade him while his value is high. It's only going to go down. Jalen Waddle, I think I would do the same thing with him. Pretty much everyone on the team, except for on the offense, I should say, except for Achane should go. Defensively, trade Jalen Phillips. He gets hurt a lot. A majority of your defensive guys are always hurt. Minka, I don't think he fits the team. Trade him. Try and invest in some capital. Go from there. Let's see what Miami does. Secondly, it's almost like a 1A for McDaniel and like a 1B for Callahan. Brian Callahan stinks. He is a horrible head coach. I don't remember what the grade was when he got hired. I don't remember what my grade was when I did that. I want to say I did it on like a live stream or something. I don't remember what exactly I put the grade as. But I think I liked it because I was like, oh, offensive-minded coach, whatever. They have not been good. They're the unction. They bring in washed-up veteran players. They're legitimately their only bright spot, I would say, is Cam Ward. Jeffrey Simmons does not scare me anymore. L'Jarius Sneed has no business being there. He's wasting his career. I remember when that trade originally happened, everyone was like, oh my goodness, this team's going to be really good. Nope, they were not. including myself, I thought they would be good too. They were not. They got to get Snead out of there because he's such a good corner. He does not deserve to be on that terrible in that terrible organization. They got to move on from Brian Callahan if they want to like save Cam Ward's development because he looks like a true star. He looks like he can be the guy, and I think he already is. It's just a matter of you need to get receivers who can actually catch the ball, and they don't have that right now. Tennessee has no direction. They have no identity. They have nothing. You have you have Cam Ward, Eric Iomaner, who I actually think is really solid. What do you have outside of that? Genuinely, for your future, in like 4 or 5 years, when you're supposed to be contending for a wild card or like a playoff spot, rather, who do you see on this team? None of the receivers on this team. I don't see any of them being there. I don't see, Tony Pollard being there in 4 or 5 years. Only player I see is maybe Cam Ward, maybe a couple of other players, maybe like some of like the young offensive linemen, maybe Jeffrey Simmons, maybe Snead. That's like it. I don't see anyone else being on this team. And when you're building a football team, like you're playing hockey, and I'll get to that in a little bit, you have no direction. What do I mean when I'm saying hockey? I'll talk about it now. I'll use my favorite hockey team as an example, the Chicago Blackhawks. So the Blackhawks, 2 years ago, they drafted Connor Bedard. You guys may or may not know him. He was a phenom, generational talent. Best prospect probably since McDavid, maybe since Crosby, whoever you want to compare him to. And what they did was they went out and they got filler players. They've done this for the last, not this past offseason, but 2 offseasons ago, those two, when they first got Bedard, they got filler players. Old veterans that, they needed to sign so they get to the salary cap floor. That made sense. Okay? Because you needed to fill your roster anyways, get some solid leadership guys for your young team, and then, get yourself up to the salary cap floor. That works in the NHL because you're allowed to tank in the NHL. I don't want to say you're allowed to tank, but it happens a lot. In the NFL, you can't tank unless it's like week 8 and you're like, no, we're just going to give up. The Titans are building them like they're a hockey team. They're putting in old, washed up veterans to bring yourself up to a salary cap floor that's not even existent. You got to do something more. Just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Last coach is Brian Daboll. Daboll is like the only one on here that has a chance of saving his job, and that's through Jaxson Dart. That's through Jaxson Dart. If Dart can play really, really well, then I think we got somewhere. If not, then Daboll's going to be on his way out. If Daboll stinks, or if Jaxson Dart stinks in like through 4 or 5 weeks, not through 1 week, through 4 or 5 weeks, then you're like, ooh. And yeah, he has really rough sledding in front of him. Chargers, Saints, Eagles, Broncos, Niners, Packers, Lions, I think in some kind of order for the next like 7 weeks. So if they can get Dart going somehow against those defenses, then yeah, maybe Dave will save his job. But if not, probably gone. I already, and if you guys want me to talk more about Brian Daboll, check out the Giants rant session I uploaded yesterday. It's time to talk about ballers and ballers. I'll make this one quick because I want to get through to the dogs of the week. Ballers. Let's talk about the teams that were balling out in week 3. Carolina Panthers, 30-0 thumping of the Atlanta Falcons. Give them credit where it's due. Bryce Young looked solid. That defense, they put up a donut. That's how you know they were unbelievably good. They're just cooking, man. They're cooking. They're cooking with fire. Carolina excites me. Something about them. I think in maybe a year or two, they'll actually be pretty good. I thought they would be good this year, like 7-win good. I don't know if they're there yet, but they're close. They're close. Buffalo. The Bills, they just have there's just a really good group. They mesh so well together. I can only say positive things about them. And I don't want to go on and on about the Bills, and because there's such a good team. Allen is unbelievable. Cook is so good. The receivers suck. As a unit, they're terrible, but Shakir has been great. Coleman has been very good. Who's the other receiver that they have? I'm totally blanking on it. Cook has been great. I mentioned already. The Kincaid, my fantasy tight end, he's been really good this year. Dawson Knox is also reliable. Good offensive line. They just have a really good team defensively. You guys know I love me some Greg Rousseau. I love Greg Rousseau. Taron Johnson, great corner there. Who's the outside corner they have there who's been really solid? Benford, that's his name. Christian Benford has been really, really good as well. They have a good unit there. Buffalo Bills 131-21 on Thursday nights. I'm trying to think, who else did I put? I'll give credit to the Vikings defense too. Those that rounds up the teams. Vikings defense, 10 points allowed. I'll you know what? I'll hold off my thoughts about that, and I hope I'm not spoiling anything for later in the show. Let's get to the ballers. Quinshon Judkins, 94 rushing yards and a tutty. How do you do? Quinshon Judkins had a great game against the Green Bay Packers. Give QJ a lot of credit because he had to fight off a lawsuit. Now he's here. Now he's playing his heart off. He's playing with his heart. I will give him a lot of credit. So happy that Judkins is playing really well. Really well. New Nick Chubb there, maybe. He's a power back. He's been playing really well. Another running back, Jonathan Taylor, got me again some fantasy points there. I really love Jonathan Taylor. He was just spectacular. Jonathan Taylor. I'm really happy to see it. I think a big reason as to why Daniel Jones has been playing so well is because of Jonathan Taylor. When Daniel Jones has a running back that is producing at a high level, Daniel Jones plays better. We saw it all the time. In his rookie year with Saquon, when Saquon was still playing before he got hurt, Jones played really well. Then Saquon had a couple down years because of his injury. Then he played unbelievably well in 2022. Jones was great that year as well. Then Barkley wasn't great the next year because he got hurt. Jones also got hurt. Last year, I think Jones played pretty well when Tyron Tracy was playing well. Now Jonathan Taylor's playing his heart off, and Jones is playing better. They mesh really, really well together. Trey Tucker, who I actually had up for Dog of the Week voting, he only got a couple of votes. I was a little surprised about that. I thought he'd get a little bit more. Trey Tucker, 3 touchdowns. All 3 touchdowns of the day for the Raiders against the Commanders. He had 3 touchdowns to go along with, I think, 8 catches and 100-something yards. I don't remember off the top of my head. But Trey Tucker, baller. That rounds up the ballers. Let's talk about the fallers. Cowboys is self-explanatory. CeeDee Lamb got hurt. Booker got hurt. Dak didn't look great against that Bears. That Bears also were able to pick apart that defense. Eberflus, you got to get rid of him. That dude sucks at his job, respectfully. With all due respect, he's just not good at his job. And if Caleb Williams, who I did a clip of one of the week 2 recap, I said, look, Caleb Williams is not a player. He's a character. He cares more about entertaining fans than actually playing well. He cares more about his image off the field than his image on the field. He cares more about the nails than the first downs. And the fact that quarterback and that Bears were able to pick apart that Cowboys defense, that's pretty bad. I put the Ravens as a faller. I feel like there's... I talked about them already. I expect more, though. The Saints, they suck. I mean, they got blown out. It was ugly game there against Seattle. Sorry for Saints fans. They just did not look good. The Bengals, I'll say the same thing. They looked ugly against the Vikings defensively and offensively. Just didn't get anything going. 2 offenses here I have in the fallers. I have the Chiefs offense and the Packers offense. So the Packers offense, it makes sense. They only had 10 points against the Cleveland Browns. Not to say that the Browns have a bad defense, because they don't. They have a pretty solid defense. I'm just saying Jordan Love got to produce consistently. He was not doing that there against the Browns. The Chiefs offense is a little bit different. they were able to produce, but they don't look like a good team this year. I just don't see a world where the Chiefs are like, oh yeah, that's a really really good group. I just don't see that being the case. So I said the Chiefs are going to be a wild card team anyways. I just don't see them being like a whole wow, this is a powerhouse here. They're 1-2 through 3 weeks. I think that should kind of paint the picture there. I mean, you lost to the Chargers. You lost to who else did they lose to? I'm totally blanking on the other team that they lost to. You lost to the Chargers in week 1. And then after that, you lost to the Eagles. You lost to the Eagles. That's right. You lost to the Eagles in week 2. Then you play the Giants, and I don't see you barely beat them, but you could have beaten them by more. I put Michael Penix as a father. He just did not look good against the Panthers at all. He looked really, really silly. So we'll say that about the fallers there. That wraps up that part. It's now time for Week 3 Dogs of the Week. Let's hit it. It is now time for Week 3 Dogs of the Week, presented to you by the Talkin Football Podcast. Let's start off with the fan-voted Dogs of the Week. Again, check the Instagram story at Talkin Football Pod to be able to vote. There was actually a very close one this week, and I had to do a secondary poll, and I hope that, before we get into this, it's my show, I can do what I want. Let's see if because these are, the results are still the same. That's kind of what I figured. So, let's break it down. Dog of the Week number 1 goes to Cam Skattebo. Skattebo was electric against the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday night. Literally the only good part about the offense there. Skattebo had 121 total yards, 61 through the air on 6 catches, and 60 rushing yards. He also added a rushing touchdown on top of that. Skattebo looked really, really good. Good news for Scat. He's the new RB1 in New York. Now that Tracy's out, or now he's the official RB1 there, I guess, because it was more like an RB1, RB1A, RB1B. Now Skattebo is going to be getting those true RB1 snaps. Singletary will also take some from him, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I would definitely look for something there with the Giants. Maybe if Skattebo is available in your fantasy league, I would definitely pick him up. I think Scat is going to have a really, really good couple of weeks here, given that Tracy is out. So Dog of the Week number 1 goes to Cam Skattebo. Number 2, New England Patriots tight end Hunter Henry. Dog of the Week for Week 3, or one of them rather. Hunter Henry had a really good classic Hunter Henry stat line on the Patriots. 8 for 90 for 2 touchdowns there. 8 catches, 90 yards, 2 tutties against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Patriots only scored 14 points. Hunter Henry was responsible for 12 of them, and the extra points too, obviously. Hunter Henry looked really, really, really good. Man, him and May are just on the same page. Hunter Henry has really been a great tight end for the Patriots. And I remember when he was with the Chargers, he was injury prone. He was never really could stay on the field. Patriots gave him a good contract. They said, look, we kind of want you here. Hopefully we can make you like a true option. And he is the number 1 option in that offense right now. Stephon Diggs, no, he doesn't really do much on that team. Hunter Henry, that's the guy. Hunter Henry, 8 for 90, 2 touchdowns there against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Really good game for Henry there. Now let's go on to the next one. And I'll be honest, when I saw this, I was a little surprised. There was a tie in the freaking Dog of the Week voting between Emeka Egbuka and Jonathan Taylor. They both had, I think, 33% of the vote. I don't know who the other two were off the top of my head, but I know they shared the vote. So I posted this morning on my Instagram. I said, first time ever we have a tie in Dog of the Week voting. This is 3 weeks in. We already have a tie, which is fine. I don't really mind it. Between Egbuka and Taylor. So I said, look, go vote. Egbuka or Taylor. And the fans have spoken. Dog of the Week goes to Emeka Egbuka. The first, Is it the first time? I'm actually not totally sure because I started dog of the week last year. I think Emeka Egbuka might be the first ever player to have 2 dogs of the week in one season. It might be the first ever double, if I'm not mistaken. I'll look into that. I'll see if that's the truth or not. But Emeka Egbuka, second time this year in 3 weeks that he's dog of the week. He had 6 catches for 85 yards as well as one beautiful one-handed catch down the right sideline. He has been incredible. Now that Evans is out, Egbuka is now the wideout one there in Tampa Bay. So look for something there with Emeka Egbuka. You might see him again, but he has been playing like a dog so far as a rookie. 2 rookies on this dog of the week list anyways, but Emeka Egbuka, second time he's a dog of the week, and it was thanks to a tiebreaker. So Emeka Egbuka, dog of the week there. Now it is time for that top dog of the week. Top dog in week 1, or top dog, let's start with top dog last week, was Wan'Dale Robinson. Top dog week 1 was Indiana Jones. Top dog this week is a defensive player. And no better way than talking about Isaiah Rodgers. He's your top dog for week 3. Isaiah Rodgers was unbelievable. He was technically historical because the first time ever a Vikings player had 2 touchdowns, 2 defensive touchdowns in one half. Isaiah Rodgers had 2 touchdowns, 2 pass defenses, 2 pass breakups rather, and 2 forced fumbles. 2 across the board for Isaiah Rodgers. Rodgers was a slot corner with the Colts. Then he went to the Eagles, and he signed with the Vikings this offseason on a 2-year deal. Rodgers, top dog. He played like one. You get the high honor of being the Talkin Football podcast top dog of the week. Now again, I choose these. Once I saw with Rodgers, I was like, that's a top dog right there. It's going to take a lot for him to not be a top dog there. So Isaiah Rodgers, congratulations. You are the week 3 dog of the week. Thank you all for watching this. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for choosing the Talkin Football podcast as your source of NFL content. Be sure to look at my Instagram. I'm going to be trying posting there a lot more. I think I've said that every single recap video, but definitely make sure you're following that at Talkin Football Pod on Instagram. This is Talkin Football, and that's what I got to say about that.